125's, when you talk about these races, they're so different from anything else that we see in the course of the year.
Well, there's several things that they're trying to accomplish. Of course, trying to get into the Daytona 500 is foremost, but also it gives them a great opportunity to check out the race cars. It's the first time since they've been here, even in testing in January and in the race or the practice leading up to the race, that they've run a full fuel stop to see how the cars are going to react after the tires get hot and all those kind of things.
Let's take a look at how the field is formed. The front row is decided by time trials 8 days ago on Saturday, and then 7 days ago today. Then you get your positions. The inside is 15 rows, 15 positions, and that is the inside row. The outside are the 15 positions from the second 125 miler. And a guy who has been through it so many times and raced the fastest 500 in history on this track and had some experience and some wins out here in these 125s, Buddy Baker, who is with us for the call to the 500 tomorrow. Now, what are these races all about from your perspective?
Well, the one thing you do, it's the first time you really get to simulate racing, as it will be in the 500. So it's so important setting your car up, knowing what the tires will do when they get hot. It's very important for setup and really getting a feel for the 500.
And after they have chosen the cars out of these two races, then you're down to that final 8 that come from the fastest. And there, right there, is a big story. That's the 88. That is Dale Jarrett, about to ready to climb into the car. No, Dale is not climbing in back on Thursday. Got a relief driver ready to go there, Ned.
Of course, that was on Thursday.
Yep, putting away the juice bottle and getting set out here is Dale Jarrett and friend.
CBS Sports presentation of the Gatorade 125's is sponsored by Gatorade, the official sports beverage of NASCAR. Life is a sport. Drink it up. Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? And by Brewery Fresh Budweiser.
At Daytona, welcome to the Gatorade 125's 250 lap sprints to establish the starting field for the 39th annual Daytona 500. Race number 1 is about to begin here at Daytona on a perfect day. Take a look at this weather. Couldn't ask for better. 74-degree temperature, just a light easterly 8-mile-per-hour breeze here. The track temperature about 112. Let's meet the front row for race 1. Standing by now with Mike Joy.
No matter what happens today, Mike Skinner starts on the pole for Sunday's 500. You don't have to win this race. So is this a test session for you, or are you going all out?
This is a test session for the 500. You know, the shocks and spring package we got under here is a little bit different than what's in the other car, and we're going to test it in this 125 mile, and they're going to test what they're doing, and then the crew chiefs will get together and decide what we're going to do for both cars for the big race.
Good luck, Mike. He also has a fresh engine. They found a rocker arm problem underneath the hood this morning and changed it. A rookie on the pole and right alongside not only a veteran, but the defending champion of the Daytona 500, Dale Jarrett. You've worked hard this week trying to get this car to run like the one that won it all here last year.
Yeah, we've been trying a lot of things, and you know, I think that we're close to the setup now that we won with here last year. A few changes, obviously. The cars are a little bit different. So today is a good test for us. We need, 50 straight laps to see exactly what our car is going to do, what we need to do for Sunday to win the race.
That's your Chevy Ford front row. Let's go deep in the field to Dick Berggren.
Two-time Daytona 500 winner Sterling Marlin had a real tough time qualifying. He, in fact, had 34 guys faster than he was, but you've changed the setup a lot. How good is it now?
We run real good yesterday, Dick. Just got the race springs, race shocks, and changed motors, and we're as good as anybody. So we've got a long way to go, but we'll try to pick our way through here and get to front.
You'll need a drafting partner in order to do that. He said no pre-race plans. He said those things never work out. Let's go to Ken Squire.
Starting order for the first 125-mile qualifying race. Pole sitter, California freshman Mike Skinner, alongside two-time 500 winner Dale Jarrett. Row 2 is Bobby Hillen Jr. and Ernie Irvin. For row 3, it's Greg Sachs and the 86 winner Jeff Bodine. In row 4, Dick Trickle and Jimmy Spencer. Row 5 is the 1990 Daytona 500 champ Derek Cope and Bobby Labonte. For row 6, Ricky Rudd and Mark Martin. Row 7, the oldest driver in the field at 59, Phil Barkdahl and Rick Mast. Row 8, Robert Presley and Bobby Hamilton. The Burton brothers are in row 9, Jeff and Ward. Row 10 is Mike Wallace and Jeremy Mayfield. Row 11, Brett Bodine and the two-time winner of the 500, Sterling Marlin. Row 12, Ted Musgrave and Joe Nemechek. And row 13, Billy Stanbridge and Dal McCower.
Well, the field is made up of 16 Fords, 6 Chevrolets, and 4 Pontiacs.
$250,000 at stake in each of these 125-mile qualifying races. 26 cars to start, and we will decide the inside through 15 rows for the Daytona 500 in this event. Of course, the man on the pole is already assured his starting spot, Mike Skinner, but a great run for the Susanville, California campaigner would give him a real feeling of confidence going into the 500. Coming down to green, buddy. Get your heart pumping?
Yes, it does. And right now they're mashing the clutch in, giving it a little accelerator, cleaning the cylinders out, getting ready for the start of this 125.
Skinner brings them down with Dale Jarrett alongside. Row 2, Hillen and Irvin. Row 3, Sachs and Jeff Bodine. In row 4, you see Dick Trickle and Jimmy Spencer. Now this 1,900-foot short chute into the tri-oval. Pace car is in. And we're ready to go racing at Daytona. Under green in the first 125-mile qualifier.
You can see Mike Skinner got a good jump there, but Dale Jarrett's fighting back on the outside as they turn into turn 1 there. It looks like Jarrett wants to make himself known right now.
I think it'll be important to try to get to the front, buddy, because it's difficult to pass, at least in the early stages, with these restrictor plate engines.
Up into the high gear now, down the back straightaway, 3,000 feet long, getting to full speed. Just about turn 3, 190 miles an hour.
That's the teammate, Ernie Irvin, just behind Dale Jarrett as they sweep into turn 3. You can see the teammates starting to work together as they go into turn 4.
And you see Jeff Bodine up from 6 into 3rd.
The outside line moved on past the front line.
Bobby Labonte looks outside of Jimmy Spencer in that number 23 car a little further back. Run double wide down into turn number 1. Front 3 cars have Jarrett, Irvin, and Jeff Bodine pacing the field.
Yet I'm sure they'd like to stick right together right now. Maybe get away from this pack running side by side. These 3 cars, if they stick together, but these other groups, they seem to be able to hang on to the first 3 cars going down the back straightaway.
Well, that's interesting, buddy, because most of the time when cars get side by side, it really slows them down. And those that are single out, like those first 3 are able to pull away, but they actually pulled up on them.
You can see Jimmy Spencer there in the yellow car going around on the outside, and here comes Sterling Marlin from the back. He does not need a drafting partner. Yesterday is one of the fastest cars in practice. You can see him moving up right on the back of Ricky Rudd as they head down through the tri-oval.
And he's being challenged on the outside. That's Brett Bodine from out back going by. And coming right up with him, Jeremy Mayfield. Meanwhile, the pole sitter, number 31, Skinner, dropping back into 5th. Dropping to 6th now is number 31, Skinner, as the 23 moves through, and they stack them 3 wide in the back straightaway.
Ken, this is a very dangerous time right now. You see them starting to get 3 wide, and when you go into the corners, there's really only room for 2 lines, but you see them 3 wide as they go into turn 3. The middle car there, Bobby Hillen, is really in trouble now.
Hung out to dry, Hillen in the middle, backing up quickly. Number 77 had a good starting position.
Bobby Hillen got hung up down on the inside, that inside lane. Mike Skinner got a good jump coming to the green flag, but then he didn't get on into turn 1 and 2 the way they needed to, and it held that inside line up. And there goes Marlin down. Ooh, that was close. Marlin down on the inside making a pass.
The last thing you want in one of these races like this is to get where you don't have any help from front and back. So when you see them 3 wide like that, the guy in the middle is really at a disadvantage.
Hillen from 3rd back to 22nd in number 77.
And Ken, they're turning laps about what they qualified, about 189.5 miles an hour.
Jarrett, Urban, Bodine, Spencer, Bobby Labonte, Mark Martin coming by. Rick Mast up to 7th. Presley in 8th. Skinner in 9th. And that's Hamilton in the 10th spot. Looking back a little further, it's Brett Bodine on a charge up into 15th, trying to qualify and get himself into this race on Sunday.
The fourth car you see there is Jimmy Spencer. He loves this racetrack. He's got that car really smoking today. You see him in 4th spot, and he might be a contender in this race. I tell you, he loves this place. The previous winner here in the Firecracker.
There you see him, number 23, yellow and blue car in 4th spot, just behind Bodine in number 7. Look at this 3 wide. Mayfield pressed on the outside, Cope in the middle, and Rudd down on the bottom as they come 3 wide. Let's go to Dick Berggren.
Well, Mike Skinner, who started on the pole, has dropped well back in this race. His crew said he was just looking for a safe place to drop into line. His primary responsibility today, bring that car home in one piece. If he does, he will start on the pole of the Daytona 500. Just to be sure that happens, they flew Will Lind in, his regular spotter in the truck series where Skinner came from, and Lind is on top of the building telling him, cool it, be calm, don't bend that car.
There you see that 31. Remember, it is the pole car. That has been established. Meanwhile, Brett Bodine further back has come up to 13th. And that 3 wide battle had Mayfield and Rudd and Cope all fighting for 15th spot. That last spot to make it into the Daytona 500. It's bumper-to-bumper competition among all the top 15, all the top 20 here at Daytona in this first 100 in car number 4.
Ned, you can see right here, these cars that are not changing positions are starting to break away from the cars running side by side, and that is a good strategy in the 125. The first 5 cars there are really nose to tail and moving away from the other pack.
And we talked about on the first lap or two that we were surprised that they were able to stay up there running side by side. Now the tires are getting heated up, and the cars start slipping around just a little bit, and that's what's allowing those 5 up front to pull away. And as long as those cars run side by side back there for that 6th position, that front group is going to distance themselves that much more.
Coming around to complete 12 laps, 30 miles. Here's the dogfight up in front. You've got Dale Jarrett on the point, Ernie Irvin into 2nd. You've got Jeff Bodine in 3rd. Jimmy Spencer's right there in 4th. And Bobby Labonte holds on to 5th. Then you've got a 10-15 car separation, and here comes the gang.
When this thing's going to get exciting, you see Sterling Marlin looking out there. He wants to go to the inside. Right now, he's kind of caught up in traffic, but if he ever gets up out of this group right here, he'll run that front bunch down. I think he has a very good race car right now.
And he's into 11th.
And looking back from Dale Jarrett on to his teammate Ernie Irvin, and Mark Martin has broken himself loose from that pack back there and is now running the front pack down.
Move that Martin needs to make. Mark Martin skipping up through now, going after that group of 5 that continue to lead this race from 12th position. Mark Martin in the white and blue, number 6, closes in on Jarrett, Urban, Bodine, Spencer, and Bobby Labonte to the line.
Once he broke loose back there, buddy, it didn't take him long to catch that group in front of him.
Ned, he closed down some 20 car lengths in 1 lap. That's how valuable the draft is here at Daytona.
And here comes Rick Mast having a great ride in number 75. He, too, is cleared out of that pack. Mast back in 7th. Ward Burton in the number 22 runs in 8th. Jeff Burton, his brother, hanging right on to him in 9th. And Presley staying in the fight. He's right there in 10th. Here's Dick Berggren.
Well, Robert Gates has 2 stopwatches, 1 in each hand. His cars are running in 1st and 2nd position, and you talk to your drivers every time they come by. What are you telling them, Robert?
You know, Ernie's interested in what the lap times are, and, you know, just got to sit there because you can't really move. But 2 watches, I'm going to have them use 1 right now. I hope I can keep it that way.
Is there any game plan? Is there anybody that's hoping to finish ahead of anybody else? How do you do this?
I tell you what, we would have signed up for wherever we started, I'm sure. It's just tough racing. It'll be interesting as it gets on down there, start separating out maybe the better handling cars.
It sure will. Ken?
No team rules here. Nobody's supposed to finish one behind the other. Watch these 2 go for it up in front. Robert Yates cars 1st and 2nd with Jarrett and Irvin pounding down that 3,000-foot backstretch, leading this event for Ford and for Yates.
And now those front 6 are beginning to distance themselves a little bit from the 7th place car of Rick Mast, even though that second group is single file, buddy, but they're still able to pull away just a little bit.
That's a good point. Now you see they're racing nose to tail just like the front group. They should be able to run them back down because the second group there has the advantage of drafting up on the group in front of them.
There you see that interval back to Rick Mast, who continues to hold on to 7th, with Ward Burton 8th, Jeff Burton in 9th. The battle for the bubble at the moment back there in 15th position is Jeremy Mayfield, the number 37 of Mayfield, and Sachs are having at it for that 15th spot. There's the 16 in it as well.
Ed Musgrave.
And he may have brushed the wall, they're reporting, on Musgrave and backed up a little.
Yeah, they had a little skirmish coming off of turn 4 a couple of laps ago. Greg Sachs almost lost it up there, and Musgrave might have gotten into the wall just a little bit.
Let's go back up with the leaders. Jarrett, Irvin, Bodine, Spencer, joined by Bobby Labonte, and now by Mark Martin.
And Sterling Marlin now has moved up to 10th from his 22nd starting position.
For more on Sterling Marlin, let's go to Dick Berggren.
Well, he just radioed into his crew, Ken, and he said, I need a drafting partner bad. His crew was very helpful. They radioed back, well, go find one.
That's exactly what he's doing right now. You can see just in front of him, he pulled down about 10 car lengths on the group that he's catching as we speak.
There's Richard Petty looking on. Got to be pleased with the way Hamilton has performed in the first part of this race.
Well, he's in position to be in the Daytona 500. If he can stay there, he's currently running in 13th position.
He's backed up a little, actually. He was up as high as 8th as they continue to slug it out in that second group.
They got to stay in line.
That's Tim Brewer talking to those guys to stay in line. He's got Ricky Rudd right behind Sterling Marlin now. And then the 99 of Jeff Burton pulls down.
Where's Jim?
Del McCoward in trouble.
Oh, yes, he is.
Slams into
Jeff Bodine with him.
Coward out of control, takes out Bodine, slides down through the grass, and brings out the first caution in this event. Bodine continuing. This in lap 18 on to pit road. That's not the way he wanted to enter the pits. Dal McCoward getting loose, slamming into the side of Bodine. And there you have it.
Let's track position up.
He was running up there in that top 4. Here's Coward's car.
He was being lapped as they came off of turn 4. Del McCoward.
Here's Mike Joy.
You see just in front of the left rear tire, the sheet metal has been in. The big damage way up at the nose where the air dam has been in, up and under the car. That will create a lot of front end lift and make it very difficult for Jeff Bodine to finish in the top 14 today. Here's Ralph Shaheen.
Dickie Williamson is the crew chief for Del McCoward. Dickie, did he say what happened?
Yeah, he said when the leaders come around him, they took the air off his spoiler and he just lost it.
That can be a big problem with aerodynamics being such a key here today.
And there you see, lying in the grass, the car that brought out this caution flag, Del McCoward's number 0. Let's take a look at what happened up here in turn 4. Del McCoward in the black number 0, and he's about to find number 7. Bodine.
The back end of his car just got loose, and he slid up into Bodine, spun him around. However, Jeff didn't hit anything. The nose of his car probably got damaged a little bit when it crossed the pavement, but you can see the car 0. Del McCoward did hit the inside wall.
From Dale Jarrett's inside camera looking back.
Well, you can see how close Del McCoward and Ernie Irvin came together, and there you see him trying to correct it. And when he does, he gets loose right up into Jeff Bodine, and there they come spinning out of the pack.
Del McCoward in the 0. You can see Ernie Irvin going by on the outside right there. The back end starts to round on it. You can see Jeff Bodine on the outside there. He gets tagged right there on the left rear corner, and that sets a chain reaction off between the two cars.
Luckily, they didn't drag anybody along with them. Now, before the pits were open, we had 4 cars down on pit road, Ned, so they'll go to the back, right? Including Bobby Hamilton?
That is the rules, that if you pit while pit road is closed, that you have to go to the rear of the longest line.
Greg Sachs is also among that group that'll be out back, and we'll be back 57.5 miles into this first 125-mile qualifying race. As you see them taking green with Dale Jarrett, Ernie Irvin, Jimmy Spencer, Bobby Labonte in the front 4, Mark Martin in 5th, and Sterling Marlin, who started 22nd in this race, now in 8th. They begin to string them out back under green, restart after the first incident of the day. Keep your eye on Jeff Bodine to see what he'll do out of the back of the pack in this one.
Yeah, there's a lot of cars back there that have new tires on them, and normally, buddy, new tires will run faster here at Daytona than tires that run 20 laps on those others.
The biggest problem they have right now, you can see the leaders are all single file, and they're running as fast as they possibly can. Back where you're 2 abreast like this, you're losing a half a second a lap to the lead cars, and if you lose about 30 car lengths, then the draft's gone for you. You can see right now Bobby Hamilton there has brand new tires on, but he's hung up in traffic.
Yeah, Billy Stanbridge in the 78 down on the bottom, but here comes Bobby Hamilton, making him pour wide into 1 as he tries to peel through.
Dick Trickling, car number 90, Phil Barkdahl in the yellow and white number 73.
Just behind that 43 on Musgrave comes the number 7 of Jeff Bodine, who was back in 21st.
Now, Jeff Bodine has a car that's got some damage to the left side, but you can see he's able to hang on in the draft. Very important if he's going to move back up.
Meanwhile, in the lead, it continues to be the 8 cars, Jarrett and Irvin, 1 and 2.
There are 13 cars in this lead draft running in single file, so all of those, if they stay where they are, they're qualified for the Daytona 500. But there's going to be a real scramble for 2 more positions back there.
14th right now is Mike Wallace, and in 15th is Hamilton. Look at this.
Look at Bodine going to the bottom of the racetrack right now. Almost made it 3 wide going into turn 1.
He was 3 wide for a moment, found a hole, luckily, when he got there. He'll be halfway when they come back.
On the outside, Junie Donlevy, number 90. And on the inside, that number 7. They make their own war back there. And Bodine trying to pace himself back up through the field. Look at Rudd hanging right onto the back of Sterling Marlin in 8th position. Rudd in 9th.
Now, Ken, that was a bad break for Jeff Bodine, who was running up there in 4th place. But if he doesn't get back up in the top 15, he still had a good enough qualifying speed. He'll get him the Daytona 500.
They take the next 8, and then they go to provisional starters after they finish these 125s to give us the field for the Daytona 500. Sunday at noon on CBS.
You can see Jimmy Spencer sitting there in 3rd right now, using his head, Ned. I think in the past 2 years, Jimmy Spencer has matured as a race car driver. He really drives that race car the right way now instead of wild and maybe making people a little uncomfortable in traffic.
I think he's matured a lot. Here's Sterling Marlin starting to make a move. He came up on the outside of Ward Burton. Ooh, they get off in close there. Now Marlin moves up into the 6th position. He's found him a groove up on the outside. He's got that Chevrolet on the move now.
He also has some help. Ricky Rudd helped him get by there. They drafted along there. Now Ricky should move right back up on the back of Sterling Marlin. I think Sterling needs somebody behind him to make the car really good.
Rick Mast and that number 75 falling off a bit after a great run. First 15 lap. Oh, Bobby Hamilton up a little too high that time in the 43.
He might have gotten into the wall, Ken. He's slowed down, certainly, or he might have, maybe something happened to the car and he pulled up there, but he definitely has a problem.
There's Bobby Hamilton, the Richard Petty Pontiac, number 43. Looks to be in trouble. It's dropped down on the apron now. Was running in 14th at the time. And down to the inside comes Sterling Marlin in number 4. He's under Mark Martin as they come down into turn 1.
You can see Ricky Rudd working with him. Mark Martin's fighting back on the outside, but Sterling Marlin has a drafting partner right now. He should be able to move right on by.
Ford staying 1st and 2nd. Jimmy Spencer right there in 3rd. Wow.
Martin had the run off the turn, is able to pull back in front of Sterling Marlin, so that pass didn't work for Sterling that time. He'll have to get another run on him. Hamilton now coming into the pits in the car number 43, headed to the garage area, out of the race. His speed will not get him in the Daytona 500, but Bobby finished in the top 10 in the point standing, so he should be one of the first to have a provisional, so he should be okay.
Look at Bobby Labonte in the 18, taking the Joe Gibbs car right down on the bottom, trying to get himself a spot.
But Sterling Marlin moving up on the outside, and that's going to cost Bobby Labonte as those cars go by on the outside. Bobby was sitting there running in line with that front-running group. He was in 4th place. Now he's back to about 9th.
With Ward Burton just outside of him. For more on Bobby Hamilton, the story from Mike Joy.
Richard Petty continues to sit on the pit wall. Richard, what happened to Bobby?
He said the motor broke, so that's all we know right now.
Frustrating day for the Petty team.
Lucky to save it. Broken motor right there. Collect that wall pretty easily.
And he was able to get it out of the line of other traffic, go to the high side, and Bobby Labonte went all the way to the back of his front-running pack.
Good piece of work by Bobby Hamilton. Front of the field. Jarrett, Irvin, 1 and 2. Spencer and Martin, 3 and 4. Marlin and Rudd, 5 and 6. From the Budweiser blimp. Looking down at that 31-degree banking as they scoot around turns 1 and 2 and into the back straightaway.
Marlin picked up another position. As you watch that pack back in the back of the field.
Leaders coming back to the line. There you see him now in 4th, Sterling Marlin, becoming the man of the hour in this one.
I got a feeling Ricky Rudd right now has decided to work with Sterling Marlin up at the front there, and these guys are really picking them off. They moved into 4th place already, and they're working together.
Marlin running in 4th, Ricky Rudd in 5th. Mark Martin's number 6 is 6th. Then the 22, that's Ward Burton in 7th, followed by Skinner 8th and Jeff Burton in 9th. All of those 9 in there together down the back straightaway as Marlin begins to pull up on Spencer.
Let's see what Marlin can do with those 3 Fords that have been up there all day. He's brought his Chevrolet from 22nd up to 4th place.
Well, I can show you how to get action. All I got to say is he ought to be real content to be where he's at and finally pass them all.
Tim Brewer on the radio to Sterling Marlin there.
See Mike Skinner there in the high line going around the corner. He's learning a lot about what he needs for the 500. Using a lot of head today.
Hey,
Ford,
you got to think all the time.
Tim Brewer saying you got to think.
Somebody better be watching the back door.
And of course, coming up
kind of like racing Earnhardt. Expect the worst, because that's what you're going to get.
Okay.
That's Rudd back there knocking on the door.
I know how to figure him real good. Come on, Rudd.
Yeah, he's looking at his drafting partner.
There you go. That's what I was talking about.
Yeah, but let's analyze this thing here a little bit. You got 3 Fords out front. Ricky Rudd's running the Ford, and that Chevrolet has come up through there. I think that they'll forget about the brand cars that they're driving. And what do you think, buddy?
You know, I've had teammates that I didn't treat any different, so I'm sure right now they're not going by a make-up car.
You got to be first. Ain't you, Larry?
Tim Brewer, crew chief on number 4, telling Sterling Marlin he's got to get around those 3 Fords. Hey, here comes the move. It's Martin going around Ricky Rudd for 5th, and Skinner is coming with him. Like Joy, Marlin needs a dancing partner.
Ken, there's a symbiotic relationship there. Marlin needs a car behind him to move up. Ricky Rudd needs a car in front to combat the really bad push that he had. Ned hit it right on the head. They made a deal before the caution flag that they would link up and work together.
But now Mark Martin moves on the outside of Marlin. They're getting that outside line going and moves right around him.
But look who he has. Mike Skinner's teamed up with him there and moved with Mark Martin up towards the front here. I think that Mike Skinner's showing that sitting on the pole, he can race too. He's coming up through there now.
Yeah, Mike Skinner beginning to make some very impressive moves. He's into 5th.
And he was way back at the first of the race. He dropped way back there just to get him a comfort level. And boy, it looks like he's found himself for it. Okay, move on the outside of Mark Martin.
Martin pinned on the bottom. Marlin going with Skinner on the top. Boy, I'll tell you, Mike Skinner is impressive. 16-time winner in the Craftsman NASCAR Truck Series, champion 2 years ago on that series. This guy is tough.
Now, Jimmy Spencer looked in the mirror and saw Mike Skinner coming. He moved his groove up about a lane there, and he knows that Mike Skinner has a very strong car, but he's got trouble on the bottom there because the car of Sterling Marlin has help now, and they should get right back by him.
Well, Martin, thought he was going to go 3 wide there for a second, but he decided, no, we're going to not do that. You're back off going into the turn.
This is going to let those leaders get a little bit of a break, but not much. The Budweiser blimp and its eye-in-the-sky camera are proud to provide you with these live shots 1,000 feet above the Daytona International Speedway. A beautiful day at the track and at the beach. Going third is Ernie Irvin and Skinner back there in fourth. From Dale Jarrett's car, you're looking back at Jimmy Spencer having a very good race, holding on in second spot. Jarrett, the winner last year, trying to make a third Daytona 500 victory his on Sunday.
Here comes Irvin trying to move back down on the inside as they come off of turn 4.
Unbelievable battle in this first 125-mile qualifier.
See Spencer on the outside with no help. Look at Ernie Irvin just rocket by.
And Skinner coming with it. Mike Skinner from Susanville, California, right down on the bottom. The pole sitter, the surprise, the shocker for the 500 is putting on some exhibition here.
Said you couldn't pass, huh?
Who said that?
Well, I don't know. That's what they were saying after the Busch Flash the other day.
Look at Jimmy Spencer fighting his way back into fourth. Let's check the bubble for a moment. Dick Trickle in 14th and Derek Cope. That's the number 36 in that 15th position. There you see him, former winner of this event back in 1990. Hangs right in there. Right behind him is Brett Bodine, and then comes Musgrave. Cope in 15th, Brett Bodine in 16th. That's where your struggle is for that final qualifying spot in this event. But the story is up in front. Love to cover that bubble story. That's always dramatic. But look at this battle up in front.
Ernie Irvin has a very, very fast car right now. He's looking Jarrett over pretty much right now. I know they want to keep this team thing going right to the very end, but they have to do something pretty quick because Mike Skinner is moving in on them.
Dale Jarrett, who has such a great line out of turn 2. He has such a great cut when he comes off that second corner. But what I'm surprised about is Skinner. He's taking the long way around this track. That's not the Baker line. You always could find another 6 or 8 car lengths out here by staying down.
Well, what you try to do is run the shortest way around the racetrack, but you have to also go with the way the cars in front of you are drafting. Right now, they're moving up. That bottom lane may be getting a little bit slick, and maybe the fastest way is a little bit higher now.
To the inside, Ernie Irvin looks on Dale Jarrett. Defending Daytona 500-mile champion. His crew chief, Todd Parrott, has to be chewing his knuckles at this point.
10 laps to go when they return.
I can tell you right now, if Jimmy Spencer can get with Mike Skinner, we're going to have a nail-biter right here down to the finish.
2 veterans and the new kid on the block out here, 1, 2, 3. Jimmy Spencer. And as Buddy was saying, his driving style has changed so dramatically in the past year. Smooth and easy. But for more on Spencer, Ralph Shaheen is standing by.
Well, we're standing by with his crew chief, Donnie Wingo, who's down here. Donnie, what's going to be your game plan with 10 laps to go now?
We're just trying to stay in line right now, stay away from all the other cars, and about 2 or 3 laps to go, see what happens.
Is he going to try anything with Skinner?
Well, I don't know. We just have to wait and see.
Let's go to Dick Berggren.
The radios are jumping in Mike Skinner's pit for sure. Richard Childress has taken over, and he is coaching Mike Skinner. He's telling him exactly what to do. Meanwhile, they've been talking back and forth, the spotters have, about who to hook up with. And they're talking about Skinner trying to hook up with the 23. Skinner radioed back, let's go. He's ready.
And there is your all-star cast leading in the 62 miles an hour after 4 laps of caution when Dal McCowart ran into the side of Jeff Bodine. He's been able to continue. Cowart KO'd. Getting down into the final moments of this first 125-mile qualifying race at Daytona. deciding the inside for 15 rows and 2 125-mile races, this being the first. The pressure is all right up in front.
And this is when you learn to look at the racetrack with your left eye and the mirror with your right eye to make sure you don't give anything away.
The speed, the lap time has picked up about 0.2 of a second since Irvin went out front, so he is a little bit faster than Jarrett was.
Mike Joy.
Ken, there's also a lot of pressure at that second pack. Jeff Bodine is 13th, Dick Trickle 14th, Derek Cope 15th on the bubble. Is there anything Jeff can do to pull his brother, Brett Bodine, in 16th place into the starting lineup? He's got 8 laps to figure that out.
Yeah, that Jeff Bodine story up there in the 13th position after he was tagged earlier by Del McCowart. Great run by Jeff Bodine today. Trickle is 14th, Cope is 15th. Then Brett Bodine is 16th. Musgrave just outside in 17th. There's Derek Cope, former 500 winner. Meanwhile, take a look at this. It looked almost 3 wide as they each took a different line coming through the tri-oval.
Skinner went high, and you can see Jarrett. He just moved right in there and moved up just a little bit. That's what you do here. That's just good, hard racing.
And Irvin doing some very good defensive driving there for a moment to hold on to this thing. Great comeback last year. 2 magnificent wins after that terrible crash back in 1994. And look at them begin to snake their way down the backstretch and set it up for the finish.
You got 6 cars there that are running very close together. The 7th place car, Mark Martin, is about 3 car lengths behind Ricky Rudd. Of course, he could pick that up in a hurry, but I think one of those front 6 are in better position to win this thing.
Irvin and Jarrett 1 and 2, Skinner 3rd, Spencer 4th, Sterling Marlin 5th, Ricky Rudd in 6th, Mark Martin 7th, Ward Burton is 8th, Bobby Labonte in 9th, Jeff Burton in 10th. Ralph Shaheen.
Ken, Jimmy Spencer, former winner of the July race here, has suddenly now got July kind of problems. His car has gotten very loose, and Donnie Wingo, his crew chief, has told him just to hang on, do the best you can.
Yeah, the 3 in front of him, Ralph is moving away from him. Ernie, Irvin, Dale Jarrett, and Mike Skinner beginning to pull away a little bit.
Jimmy Spencer almost hit the wall coming out of turn 4 just a lap prior to this lap they're on right now. That's how much you lose when you back out of the throttle to get control again.
What a performance by Skinner. 5 to go. Skinner was in one of these 125s back in 92, came in 22nd, failed to qualify. One of those Steve Dixon cars. Today, he's a solid 3rd and ready to challenge those Fords for the lead. Dick Berggren.
As bad as Skinner wants to go, his crew chief, his team has radioed to him, stay where you are. Don't bend that thing up. 3rd as good as winning this thing. Meanwhile, here's Larry McReynolds down to talk to Kevin Hamlin as they try to work strategy for the last couple laps.
Mike Skinner is on the pole at 189.813 miles an hour. But he's out here now in this 125, knowing he has that sewed up. Just seeing what he can do against 2 of the best. Defending, in trouble for a moment. You saw Dale Jarrett wiggle as he came up on Ernie Irvin. As Ernie tried to cut him down, and Dale goes right through. And with him comes Skinner into 2nd place.
Boy, I'll tell you what. He had to go. You could see the 28 car get a little bit out of shape there. That's all Skinner had to do. But somebody opened the door, he jumped right through.
So frustrating to watch some of those races where they have these team rules. You just saw the team rules here. Irvin tried to throw the block. Jarrett would have no part of it. 190 miles an hour, moved him over, went through, and brought Skinner with him.
It'll be 3 to go when they return.
Impressive showing for the Yates team once again. They've got 2 of those top 3 positions right now, but just as impressive for Richard Childress's new addition.
You might have called him a freshman at the start of this show, but I tell you what, he's a veteran right now. He's doing everything right. What a drive by Mike Skinner.
1995 Craftsman Truck Champion over Joe Ruttman. He's right there in 2nd spot, trying to close down on Jarrett as they come out of turn 2. Here's Mike.
Todd Parrott, Dale Jarrett went from defense to offense there. Did Ernie make a miscue, or did Dale just have a run on him?
I think Dale just had a good run on him right there. You know, both cars are really strong, bunch of strong cars out there, and just up front's the place to be, and evidently that's where he wanted to be right now.
Let's go to Dick Berggren.
A change in plans for Mike Skinner. They have developed an enormous amount of confidence in him in just this one race. Richard Childress has said the 88 is a little loose. Try to close up on him, make him a little bit more loose, and go for it.
Go for it they do with 2 to go.
I think the 88 car is getting a little loose. And Skinner tried to look to the outside, didn't see anything there.
And closing up Sterling Marlin one more time on that number 4, just behind Spencer, who's driving as good a race as I've ever seen him put down.
Okay, Spencer regrouped after he got loose coming off turn 4. You can see he's running very well right now, and the eyes closed back in. And I tell you, the front 2 cars right now are awfully strong. Look at the 28, how well he can stay on the bottom of the racetrack, though. Those cars are really handling.
White flag when they come back.
And take a look at this battle back here for the bubble as we get down to the end of this one. There's the bubble. There's Derek Cope in that number 36, trying to hang on to this thing. White flag is out. 1 lap to go. Cope fighting off Brett Bodine in the 11. Meanwhile, the leaders go down into turn number 1. Last time around, and you've got Jarrett in front, Skinner in second, Irvin is in third, Jimmy Spencer in fourth, Sterling Marlin right there, but not close enough. The battle is among the top 3. Jarrett, Skinner, the new name to be reckoned with, and Ernie Irvin.
You can see Dale move down low on the racetrack to get that inside line going into turn 3. Mike Skinner is fighting very hard to close in. That looks like Jarrett has the stuff today, though.
Spencer is closing back up again on Ernie Irvin as they round 3 and head for turn 4. Down the stretch for the final time in this first 50-lapper. As they come to the strike, it's going to be Dale Jarrett showing his muscle with Mike Skinner in second spot. And the battle for the bubble coming to the line. It's going to be that number 36 right there, and the 11 right behind him. Give it to Derek Cope in 15. Happy folks down on pit road that you know pretty well.
Well, Todd Parrott and that entire crew, Steve Allen, and all of them, they've really worked hard on that car this week.
Look out. Daytona 500 Sunday. Can he win it 3 times? Well, Dale Jarrett certainly looks stout here in this first 125-mile qualifier. Let's take a look at how Dale Jarrett took the lead from his teammate.
Ernie Irvin was leading coming off of turn 4, Ken, and whether his car slipped a little bit, Jarrett got a good run. Look how close they got together, but then Mike Skinner came along behind Jarrett and just gave him the push that he needed right on into the lead.
From Jarrett's in-car.
Okay, you can see Ernie Irvin coming off turn 4. The car is pushing right here. You can see him trying to get it. He checks up just a little bit. Jarrett drives to the inside. Just a little contact there, and not anything intentional. He goes right by and takes the lead.
At 190 miles per hour. And the finish. This is how they came to the line.
Of course, Jarrett kept it down on the inside coming through turn 4 and dipped right down to the inside to get the checkered flag.
Mike Skinner up on the outside, and another look at that. Super slow-mo as they come to the strike. There's the 88 across. And second spot, way back for Daytona. He had to be a car length between first
That's
and second.
slow motion, pal. That's quicker than you can wink your eye.
Let's go to victory lane. Into victory lane, you're riding with the winner, Dale Jarrett. Turns off the switch, and let's join Mike Joy.
Dale Jarrett, a late move to win it. Did Ernie Irvin have a little bobble up there, or did you just get a good run?
No, his car was pushing a little bit, and he got off the white line a little bit, and it's just like mine would do if I would have gotten up there. So, I just was able to take advantage of that. My car really worked well out front. Ernie got a run on me there the one time and got by me, but I knew I wanted to get out front, but I wasn't going to jeopardize Ernie and I finishing first and second, but I got that run.
Anybody watching at home that thinks you folks are just riding in line out there, they're not seeing the real deal, are they?
No, there may not be a lot of passing going on, but I tell you, you're fighting it. Even when I was leading the race, I was having to watch behind me and really keep the car on the bottom. This is a slick racetrack, and it doesn't matter how good the cars are, you really have to fight it.
First 125-mile win for Dale Jarrett. Let's go to the gas pumps. Dick Berggren.
Mike Skinner, good, strong run today. What'd you learn out there?
They all lie a lot.
Who is they that were lying to you?
All of them.
The other drivers?
Yeah.
Now, they were telling you on the radio to take it easy. Were you listening to them and behaving yourself or no?
No.
How about Sunday? How about the Daytona 500?
Well, we got a good car to start the race with, and we get through these next practices and don't tear this thing up, I think we'll be all right. We got a lot stronger engine for the 500 than we did for that race there. Had an unfortunate thing. They seen some stuff in the Oberg this morning they didn't like, and I told Terry Elledge, I said, I'm going to weld that engine in there. You ain't going to get it out, but darned if we didn't have to pull it out this morning. But this engine here did a good job. Gary Wagner, John Richardson, Terry Elledge, Spinney, all the guys at the RCR engine department, they did a heck of a job, and Kevin and the boys did a heck of a job getting this car right. We found the car's weakness out there today, and we'll work on it for Sunday and see if we can't make it a little better.
A stronger engine for Sunday, Ken? They found a weakness here? Oh, boy, hang on.
And the results on the first 125-mile qualifier. Dale Jarrett takes the checkers with Mike Skinner in second and Ernie Urban in third.
Jimmy Spencer came home fourth. Sterling Marlin all the way from 22nd up to fifth. Mark Martin came home sixth.
Further back in the field, Ricky Rudd for seventh. Then it's Bobby Labonte and Ward Burton, Robert Presley, Jeremy Mayfield, Jeff Burton, all qualifying.
And here's where it really got close at the end. Jeff Bodine came home 13th, Trickle 14th, and Derek Cope made it into the field by coming home in 15th place. Then you see Brett Bodine, Musgrave, and Barkdahl.
And taking a look back through the rest of the field here as to how they came across at the end of 125 miles, 50 laps. And these days, it's hard to keep those. Here, 26 cars out there. Pays the same. And the top 14 qualify. Steve Grissom, outside of that front row, guaranteed from qualifying previous Saturday. Coming to green.
As we start down into turn one, right now what they're trying to do is establish a good drafting partner. You see them making it 3 wide as they head down into turn one.
John Andretti, bottom of the racetrack, scoots through and takes the lead. Grissom, the driver they call the good guy from Gadsden, number 41 right there in second. Earnhardt looks to the inside on Grissom. New colors on the number 2. Rusty Wallace stacked up on the outside as they head down the backstretch first time. And look at number 17 trying to bust his way through.
Moves right around Earnhardt.
What's that song? I don't need no rocking chair. Look at that 17 go. I'm going to tell you, Darrell Walter told me, he said, I'm fired up and I want to race.
50 years young, here he comes. That chrome car, number 17, down on the bottom. Hanging right on to Grissom. Andretti leading, then it's 3 wide behind. Look at that stack. And Earnhardt finds his way through, found a hole through the tri-oval. He pulls up. Wallace up there in second spot on the outside, falling to third. It's the number 41 of Grissom, and they're going to go 3 wide coming down the backstretch.
You can see Earnhardt making it 3 wide there for second place right now. They're running, you can see up on the top up there, that's Rusty Wallace. Kind of called out of position there. Looks like Earnhardt has second.
Steve Grissom got caught in the middle and had to back off. There he is still in the middle as Gordon comes by on the inside. Here comes Ricky Craven in the red number 25.
Jeff Gordon making an incredible run from 11th at the start. Here he is right down.
And here's trouble. Boy, it's just about to be. I thought those cars 3 abreast, they got together back there, Ken, and I thought it was going to be a big wreck.
Gordon right down to the bottom. He's underneath number 17. He's underneath number 2. Charging toward the front. From Pittsburgh, Indiana, Jeff Gordon is on a tear. He's up fighting for third.
Now it's just who has the best drafting partners. Look at this. You can see the 40 car, Robbie Gordon, go all the way down on the flat.
Thinks it's still one of those open wheel cars?
Land rush time at Daytona. Ricky Craven. He's fighting his way through.
That's teammates trying to work together right there. Jeff Gordon's on a tear and Ricky Craven right behind him.
As they push the 17 back now. A very determined Darrell Waltrip hanging right on to 5th position. As up in front, it remains John Andretti, Earnhardt in the 2nd spot. Remember the story of Earnhardt. He's won a 125-mile race 9 times. He's won for the last 7 straight years. Number 3. But at this ready down on the inside. Getting some help from Wallace on the outside is Earnhardt, but Andretti comes back.
You could see almost Earnhardt looked in the mirror and noticed that Rusty Wallace was not with him, and he pulled right back down.
Look at Ken Schrader come up on the inside. making a pass without any help, or at least trying to make a pass on Bill Elliott. Oh, that is Wally Dallenbach in the green car, number 46. I thought he was Ken Schrader.
Wally Dallenbach, I mean, a great ride out here. And look at that number 71. Tussle right through, go around Grissom.
That's Dave Marcus there. There's speculation that his qualifying time isn't fast enough to get in the race. He's got a good sponsor. We wish him well in this race.
Fighting for 14th right now. Dave Marcus trying to make this 500. It would be his 30th.
More than anyone else.
Take a look at Lake Speed back here, the number 9. That is the 15th place car on the bubble at the moment. Just behind him is Kyle Petty, stacked up on the outside. The yellow, number 30, Johnny Benson. Oh, in trouble is Craven. Speed gets taken out. And the crash continues in the rear of the field.
Kyle Petty and Morgan Shepherd both involved.
Lake Speed slamming into the wall here in the tri-oval. This action happening as they come to lap 10. Ricky Craven's number 25, all torn up in the nose. You can see the hood bundled up on that car. Lake Speed is all right, climbing out of the milling, number 9. And they're saying, oh, that's Loy Allen's car. It got tripped into the wall in this incident.
Heavy damage to the right front corner of the 19 car of Loy Allen.
Now, sir, he's out of this race, Ken, but his qualifying speed will be fast enough to get him in the Daytona 500.
Always a fast qualifier, Loy Allen.
And I think Lake Speed, as he walks around and looks at his car, it's out of this race too, but I think his speed, he qualified on the second day and picked his speed up considerably, and I think he picked up enough that he should be in the Daytona 500.
As to what happened up here, coming to turn 4, we'll look at it right now.
You can see their cars side by side as they come off of turn 4, and there's one that looks like moves from the inside to the outside, and that was Ricky Craven in the car number 25 trying to get up in the outside lane, made contact.
That was Chad Little there in the green and yellow car that he was trying to get on the outside of Ricky Craven, and Chad Little got into the right rear corner and turned him.
The 41, the car that Craven drove a year ago with Grissom aboard, was down on the bottom there. Now, from inside of Ricky Craven's car, here's how it looked.
Okay, you can see him right there. He gets tagged. He gets a little bit loose there. Now he's headed for the inside. You can see Lake Speed go by. They make contact.
And from the back, let's see what happened.
You can see the green car on the outside. They make contact right there, turns him up. He corrects a little much. Then he starts down. See, Lake Speed's just along there. Nothing he could do about it.
Did it look like Ricky was trying to pull up in that high line?
Exactly what he did, yep.
Chad Little car was right there. For more on Ricky Craven, let's go to Mike Joy.
Ricky, what happened?
I screwed up. He was within a half a car length of clearing those group cars, and Jeff and I would set sail, and just got hung up and tried to push the issue a little bit. And Chad could have given me a break, but he didn't. And I don't know if it was 2 inches or 2 feet, but I tried squeezing into a hole, and it just I felt him. You know, I was feeling him through 3 and 4, but it just wouldn't let go. And needed a break. I didn't get one. I screwed up.
Let's go to Dick Berggren.
Lake Speed has just walked across the infield. Lake, you had been running so fast here at Daytona, but you've just been through the big one. What happened?
Well, 2 guys in front of me got together. One of them hooked the other one in the right rear corner, and it turned them in the outside wall. And when they bounced off the wall, and I tried to sneak by them on the inside, but they just barely clipped me, and it turned me too.
Going to be able to get into the Daytona 500 anyway?
Oh, yeah. The milling performance Ford was fast enough to get in on time alone, so we had the 10th fastest overall speed. So we're guaranteed to be in the race. We just have to pull out our backup car and go to it. It's never been tested down here. It may be faster than the one we had.
And he's on his way for the mandatory ride to the care center just to be sure he's all right, but he looks fine.
Coming up for a start, with 14 laps complete as they come to the line. John Andretti brings the field down with Earnhardt directly behind him, followed by Rusty Wallace, Jeff Gordon, Darrell Waltrip 5th, Wally Dallenbach, Bill Elliott, Terry Labonte, Ken Schrader in 9th, and Robbie Gordon in 10th, Michael Waltrip 11th, Marcus Grissom, Benson, and Chad Little the top 15. Take a look at that sort out.
Yeah, they don't waste any time. They're going at it once again. Of course, this is a good time to pass. If you can build up some momentum on that restart before others get up to speed, you can make a pass, and that's what Robbie Gordon did.
That looked like a tough man fight on the beginning of that start.
It did. I saw Michael Waltrip there in the 21. He went and made it 3 wide before, just after they passed the flag. You can't pass until you get past the flag. He took full advantage once he got by the flag good.
Sorted out in that second group very quickly. Terry Labonte trying to move in on these leaders.
Terry got off to a slow start there. Lost a good bit of ground in the front row.
There in turn 3 on the 98. Now it's straightened away, and John Andretti continues to lead. Oh, take a look at number 44. Slide down to the inside and gun it through Kyle Petty.
Now, Kyle was involved in that incident. Apparently it didn't hurt his car. Came in, changed tires.
Chad Little, that green and yellow car on the bottom. Looks like he might be going back a spot. Front of the field, Andretti, Earnhardt, Rusty Wallace, Jeff Gordon, Darrell Waltrip, Dallenbach all in there. Dallenbach a big surprise on this one. Larry Pearson back there in 17th position for Bud Moore, struggling to get into this race.
Yeah, he definitely needs to get in the top 15 here. I don't think his qualifying speed would get him in.
You know, I feel all of a sudden, I don't believe that Earnhardt and those guys are going to just sit there and ride nose to tail for the whole event. They're looking him over pretty good. John Andretti leading the race there. You can see him kind of looking to the inside, outside. But right at the moment, the tires are not really heated up to the point that he would lose any traction. So he's not making any mistakes. He's hard to pass.
He has a fast race car. He has been fast and ready during practice and certainly in qualifying.
Average speed for this race well down around 129, 130 miles an hour after that caution for that crash up in turn 4 and down into the tri-oval area. Now look at the number 94 has pulled up into this thing, Bill Elliott. Meanwhile, struggling back here is the Bud Moore, car number 15 and 7th spot. Larry Pearson, Spartanburg, South Carolina, is trying to qualify this car desperately for Bud Moore. And there's a story here, Buddy Baker, because the last time that Bud Moore failed to qualify,
1972, when they were running the small block and David Pearson was driving the 15 car.
Dad.
They didn't make it.
Larry's dad, David Pearson, was driving for Bud Moore that year when they lost a motor. They're struggling to get in this race.
Yes, and they desperately need a sponsor. You see there's no riding on the side of that car number 15.
Back with the leaders. Here you have Andretti, Earnhardt, Wallace, Gordon, and Waltrip looking great out there right now.
If I was Waltrip, I'd chrome everything I own. I hadn't seen him run like this in a couple of years. This is great to see him back being competitive again.
5-time
winner of the 125. Darrell Waltrip right there. And Grissom has just pulled the number 41 onto pit road. Remember, he is already established as a front row starter in the 39th Daytona 500. Here comes Earnhardt down to the inside, sweeping through. Is he going to make a move at turn 3 to take the lead? I don't think he's going to make it that time.
Didn't have enough momentum. Now he's going to try it again. He's hanging right in there.
Well, here we go. Andretti's in trouble now. He does not have a drafting partner. And you can see Rusty Wallace is going with Dale Earnhardt.
John Andretti caught on the outside. His car owner won 6 of these 125s. The great Dale Yarborough, second only to Earnhardt. Oh, look at them push each other around. That's Gordon on the inside, working on Wallace.
Wow.
Anybody but that group, and you'd have had about 8 cars in the wall. Masterfully driven by both of them.
What a bold, gutsy move.
And Wallace just keeps his foot in it. Here comes Waltrip up into 4th.
Andretti made the mistake going into turn 3, didn't keep his car right down on the bottom, and look at Dallenbach making it 3 deep.
Wally Dallenbach last year in Bud Moore's Ford was up up in the top 3 all day long. He loves this racetrack, and he's given the 46 a great ride today.
Loves to go fast. Dallenbach looking tremendous for the Felix Sabatis team at the present time. Pulls up another spot. Earnhardt, Wallace fighting it out with Gordon. Gordon into second. Wallace back to third. Dallenbach up into fourth. If this is any indication of the Daytona 500 this year, we're in for one of the best races ever. First 125, fantastic race. And look at this second battle. You now have Earnhardt out in front.
You can see Andretti. He's trying to get back in that lower line where everybody's hooked up and moving by him. He has went from first to about 10th already, and he's on a steady move to the back.
And they're not going to let him in. Kyle Petty, what a run he's giving at number 44. Talk about hot wheels.
Rusty Wallace has been a rocket since he got here at Daytona, but Robin Pemberton, it doesn't look like they really want to draft with your guys. What's going on?
Well, I guess they're just not used to seeing Rusty run up front. I guess after this race, it might take them a little more serious. Him and Earnhardt might work good together, or Robbie Gordon, but right now I don't see anybody else that would run with him.
He's going to need some help, Ken Squire.
And I think one of the things he's trying to do is exactly that. The word on Wallace was he was not comfortable on these big 2.5-mile tracks, and he's having to reassort himself. And that's what you see him doing in that move against Gordon just 3 or 4 laps ago. He's throwing everything at this race.
Ken, there are 15 cars in this lead draft. One of them is not going to qualify for the Daytona 500 if it stays this way till the end.
Guy on the tail end of that right now is Hutch Strickland. The 84 car coming in once again. It's several laps down. Finish. Earnhardt in front. Can he win this thing 8 straight? Win a 125-miler? That would be his 29th win at Daytona, but still, the 500 elusive. Can he win it this year? That's one of the biggest questions to be answered in the 39th running of the Great American Race. The current standings after 21 of 50, Earnhardt in front, Gordon in second, Rusty Wallace in third. Hey, we've seen that before. Stay tuned.
Go where you wanna go. Find the road you've never taken.
This is the tire that changed driving forever. The all-season Goodyear AquaTread with the advanced deep groove aqua channel that sweeps water away for serious traction in the wet, especially in braking. Goodyear AquaTread.
Serious freedom. Goodyear, Goodyear.
In Denton, Texas, a lot of folks who work on their cars go to AutoZone because they know they're going to find quality parts, low prices, great selection, and good people like Tom Robinson. You see, Tom's the kind of guy who really likes to help folks out. And since he's been around cars most all his life, he knows his parts, too. Oh, sure, there are other parts stores in town, but when it comes to getting the right part, the right price, and good advice from folks like Tom, there's just no place better than AutoZone.
Let me tell you something about the sport, NASCAR. When the season gets over in November, your first thoughts are Daytona, February. We put probably more hours into just that one race than you do 10 other races put together. I can't wait to get here. Can't wait to get started. I can't wait to get to that finish line. I get pumped up just talking about it.
Hey, the Econo Lodge Senior Room has just what older travelers want. Brighter lighting. Look, still soft and beautiful. Bigger numbers on the phone and TV remote. Time for fly fishing. And an in-room coffee maker.
Spend a night, not a fortune, at Econo Lodge. Call 1-800-55-ECONO and you can save 30%.
You drink about, just drink that. And you'd be surprised. Your eyes, begin to...
This CBS Sports Race Summary is sponsored by Econo Lodge. Spend a night, not a fortune.
On the race summary, average speed down to 147 miles an hour after a caution of 4 laps. 3-car crash collected Craven, Speed, and Allen. And Steve Grissom, he has fallen out of this race. Ralph Shaheen standing by with Steve Grissom.
Well, Steve has climbed back to the transporter, gotten changed. Tell me what happened to you.
Well, it's just one of those deals there that we tried a little different setup than what we practiced, and we know we got a pretty good race deal, and we just wanted to try this, see what it would do for the 500. And, you know, with that, there's a lot of guys out there trying to get in the 500, and, you know, we almost got caught up in a wreck there and said, wait, we don't need to do this. And, you know, with that, we'll come back, change, and go back where we were practicing yesterday and be ready for Sunday.
And on Sunday, he'll start from the front row.
There's a new day coming in Winston Cup racing, and it starts with the 1997 Daytona 500. Mike Skinner and Steve Grissom in the front row here in the second 125-mile qualifier. Look who's come to fourth. Texas Terry Labonte buckles down and goes after those leaders. The defending Winston Cup champions on a roll.
And he had dropped back to about 10th place or something on that restart, was a couple of seconds behind him, now has passed all those cars in front of him and has moved right up on their back bumper.
A very patient race car driver. All of a sudden, no matter what racetrack you're at, Terry always appears when it counts.
You talk about true grit. You talk about Terry Labonte. Remember Phoenix? He had a hand that didn't look like a hand. Broke his wrist, went right out there, ran that race, and what a performance he put on. Came home in 6th that day. Took a real hard bite on that Winston Cup championship, then came back to Atlanta for that magnificent race when he and his brother teamed up for a lap of honor when it was over that was so special to racing fans throughout America.
You know, we're seeing something right now that's very, very important. Kenny Schrader started very far back in this and already worked up to 5th. He loves this racetrack and has probably led as many laps in the past 10, 15 times here. I think he's the factor in the 500. Him and Petrie teamed up in the 33 car. They're going to be tough to beat. He's really run a great race right now.
Just about 6 car lengths back, Ned, from that number 5.
He's staying right up in there, and he's come from pretty far back. So, Betty, I think you're right. Those 15 cars still in the lead draft as we see them come off of turn 4. You see in the right of your screen there, the last car there right now is the RCA car of John Andretti. So his speed will get him in. He don't have to worry about whether he finishes in the top 15 or not. So if he stays where he is, then Kyle Petty will definitely be in the race. And he was definitely worried because his speed would not get him in. Dave Marcus would be in. Hut Strickland would be in. Boy, this is nail-biting time for crew members. Want that thing to keep on purring.
Coming by, big gap to that second group, 32 laps. 80 miles complete this time by when they hit the line. Take a look a little further back. That's Morgan Shepherd in the number 1.
Let me say one thing about Morgan Shepherd. He's got a lot of damage to the nose of that car. He was involved in that altercation at the first part of the race and kind of caved the nose in on his car. I imagine he's fighting a car that's trying to lift down the straightaway.
Yeah, he's back in 16th with Brad Berry right behind him in 17th, and then Larry Pearson with the Bud Moore car in 18th. So unless something shakes out among those cars, that Bud Moore car's got a tough road to hoe today.
Look at this. Kenny Schrader's run that front bunch down, and now they're nose to tail. He has really made a move up to the front here.
Doing what they need to do, keep them in a straight line. You're going to run down those leaders. Mike Joy?
Ken, there's a lot of high-tech equipment in Dale Earnhardt's pit. There's a TV on every side of this war wagon, and there's this 1960 wall thermometer from the A.J. Foyt collection. It belongs to Danny Myers. 78 degrees, works pretty well. The new crew chief here is Larry McReynolds. And Larry, we've watched Dale draft with a Ford behind him, Rusty Wallace, and now with a Chevy behind him, Jeff Gordon. Which works better?
Well, I don't know. I'm still learning about these Chevrolets. And, you know, I'm sure Jeff Gordon, Rusty Wallace, those guys are just sitting there. The crew chiefs is giving them their laps, and they're trying to feel maybe where we're a little weak, if we're a little weak, and maybe where we're strongest. But they're dealing with the best in the business. There's no question about that.
How are you fitting in here?
These guys have made me feel like I've been with this team for a long time. They've welcomed me with open arms. Dale, great relationship with him. I can call him a really true friend right now. Richard Childress, Bobby Hutchins. just everybody at Richard Childress Racing has made me feel so much a part of this program.
Spoken like a true winner, Ken.
See the front of the field? I'll tell you one that's running very, very well is Michael Waltrip. He started 15th today in the 21 car, and he now finds himself in 7th for the Wood Brothers.
And I think he would be happy, Ken, if he could ride it out and finish in that position.
Very big moment here in Daytona back on Monday night. They honored the Wood Brothers, put them into the Hall of Fame down here in Daytona Beach. The Rotary Club sponsors that, and the gentleman who led the induction program was the guy to our right, Ned Jarrett. Big night. Those Wood Brothers are so special.
Well, that was a fun night. They went in along with Smokey Unick, who lives here in Daytona and certainly has a great history in motorsports.
Field coming back to complete 34 laps. Earnhardt facing them. Jeff Gordon in second. This will be incredible if Earnhardt wins another 125 and still has yet to win that 500. He just knocks them off year after year. Side by side. That's Robbie Gordon down on the inside in ninth spot as he goes underneath Waltrip. And there you see Dave Marcus right in there. Good for David.
Well, Dave's having a great run here today.
One reason he's running this well, Dave Marcus is a very good race car driver here at Daytona. Won this race in 1976 here, the 125. But right now, he has to get in. His time is not good enough to make the 500. He's driving the wheels off that car right now.
Yeah, he's got a
Richard Childress motor in it.
He's got to finish in the top 14 in this race.
Richard Childress has given motors to at least 3 different guys that are out here in the course of these 125 qualifiers. He has just helped so many people in so many ways.
Boys, we just saw a wreck. It just didn't happen. Paulie Dallenbach pulled directly over in front of a car running about 10 miles an hour faster than him, and it was just lucky we didn't have a wreck.
Yeah. What is the Earnhardt's great line? I was in a wreck. The only thing missing was the crash. We'll take a commercial break and be right back with the twin 125-mile qualifying races at Daytona for the 39th annual Daytona 500.
Oh, no.
Weekends, but you did. You didn't have to drive the team, but you did. You didn't need to volunteer, but you did. When you take pride in what you do, you always do more than you need to. That's how it is at Pennzoil. We didn't have to achieve the tougher GF2 motor oil performance standard ahead of its time, but we did.
Pennzoil, first to fully achieve the tougher 1997 GF2 performance standard.
Going to be fantastic. A week of fishing. Only one way in and one way out. Peter would have loved this. Too bad he hates to fly. Peter's a wimp.
Peter, how was the in-flight movie?
The new Ford Expedition. The only way to get there.
Today, a taste of Italy. From the snowy ski village of Sestriere, Italy's golden boy Alberto Tomba is on the menu in the slalom. He's worked up quite an appetite for this race, his specialty. Also coverage of today's women's downhill after racing at Daytona. Come to Sestriere.
And welcome back to Daytona. with 37 laps of the 50 completed, 92.25 miles of the 125 miles in this qualifier. You have Earnhardt leading, Gordon in second, Wallace in third, Terry Labonte in fourth, and Schrader in fifth. The race has stabilized over the last 15 laps. Nobody making any big dramatic moves out there, with Buddy Baker and Ned Jarrett alongside, watching what has been an action-packed event, and the drama builds as Earnhardt continues to strive for another victory here.
I see a new player up front. Bill Elliott has moved into that front group, and yesterday in practice, he was as fast as anybody out here, so don't count Austin Bell out yet.
Well, there are 8 cars that now have broken away from the other 7 that were in that 15-car draft. They've run single file, content to stay each driver where they are, where those others back there were battling because they know one of those drivers back there is not going to qualify in this race for the Daytona 500.
Right now, Kyle Petty is in 14th position, and John Andretti is in 15th position back there in that action as to who makes it and who doesn't. All right, Ralph Shaheen has a report for us.
Ken, I'm with Andy Petrie, crew chief for Kenny Schrader. Andy, according to the stopwatches, you guys are now running a tenth or so quicker than the leaders. What do you got for them here at the end?
Well, I don't know. We're a little bit tight right now, and that draft deal is how they pick up a tenth or so every now and then. So, you know, we're just kind of hanging on with the leaders, and hopefully we can make it better, you know, on Sunday, because we're a little bit too tight right now.
Ken, one more footnote for you on the battle back in 6th and 7th. Johnny Benson and Michael Waltrip spent a tremendous amount of time drafting together yesterday. They feel very comfortable with each other and say their cars ran really good when they ran as a pair. That could be 2 to watch.
Well, Johnny Benson just slipped back here a bit.
You saw Austin Bell make that move 3 wide through the tri-oval here. That used to be a favorite spot to pass. You could get a car a little bit loose underneath you and just rock it by on the outside.
That was the old Petty place to pass. The only guy that would do that for years would be up in that tri-oval. The Richard Petty. 10 to go this time by.
Bill Elliott running a very high line back behind this pack of cars up front here. But apparently that's what works well for his race car.
Here he passes Waltrip on the bottom.
He went high, got him a good run coming down off the corner, and just motored right, built up some momentum and went by. But here comes Waltrip back by on the outside. I think that Waltrip might have the advantage here, although that side by side is going to hurt both of them. No, Bill's coming back down on the inside, so he did make the pass. I thought maybe Waltrip might get a good run off the turn, but was not able to.
For more on the 1985 and 87 Daytona 500 champion, here's Mike Joy.
And he's a 3-time qualifying race winner as well, Ken. Mike Beam, he passed on the high side. Last time through here, he passed on the low side. You still haven't cracked a smile. That car will go anywhere.
Yeah, the car's pretty good, Mike. It's a little bit tight, but, you know, with this new era stuff, we're learning a little bit. But I think we know what to do. We just kind of see what happens.
Can he get to the front?
Well, we're trying to get our in position right there because I know Jeff and Rusty, they're going to stir that stuff up here in a little bit.
All right. We look forward to that. That's the case.
The stirring has begun. Earnhardt first. Gordon second. Take a look at the bubble battle. Here's the 44 and the 98 hard after it. Petty on the inside. John Andretti up around the outside. John had that great performance over the first 15 laps, then fell back, trying to hold on here.
Yeah, before Andretti gets up there too far, somebody's going to make a deal for Kyle Petty and say, hey, John, you're going to be back here anyway. One more spot's not going to make that much difference. Your speed will get you in this race. Kyle's speed won't get him in that race. Now they're starting to mix it up.
Oh, yes.
Here we go, guys. Look at Bill Elliott on the outside there. I tell you, he found something.
Yes, he has, buddy. He said, Mike Beam, his crew chief, said the car was a little tight. Well, he decided to run it up higher on the racetrack, make the racetrack a little bit longer. That's what you got to do with the tight chassis.
Going to fourth, Bill Elliott. A year ago, that terrible accident down in May at Talladega, broke his leg. It's full of pins and screws and plates, but he's feeling as good as you can feel right now.
See, it takes it high, then brings it down off off of the banking, coming out of the turn, gives him a good run off there. He's found himself a good line.
Ned, it's good to see a driver look around on the racetrack to find a faster way. Some people get a little stereotype and they sit there and they don't change their line, and there's no way to if you don't look around.
That's a mark of a good, smart race driver.
The activity is picking up right now at the Dawsonville, Georgia Pool Hall. Boy, they haven't had that much to cheer about in a long time. Here comes Elliott rolling into fourth.
Picking up on the leaders.
All he needs is for Rusty Wallace to pull up a little bit there and help him. You see him coming back down the racetrack, getting in that draft. Look at him close in as he comes off four.
He really gets a run when he comes off of that high banking down and cuts it down. That's downhill there for a little bit, and so that helps to give him a run. Plus the fact he picks up the draft in a different way, and it really shoots him up there on him.
6 to go. Elliott in fourth. We've got 2 Chevrolets leading, 2 Fords, third and fourth. 98 brushed the wall. John Andretti dropping back. Big break for Kyle Petty.
Yeah, Andretti is slowed dramatically on the racetrack, so that will be a break for Kyle Petty. Puts
Look
him
at the
back
leaders.
in position.
For more on Kyle Petty, let's go to Ralph Shaheen.
Ken, that is exactly the break that Kyle needed. I talked to his crew chief, and he said there was no way they were going to catch him. And with that, they are now going to have this opportunity to try to get past John Andretti. Let's check with Mike Joy.
They're going to pit John Andretti. The pit forward is out. They're going to have to change a tire on that car. But of the 2 leaders, Earnhardt earlier did not want Jeff Gordon right up behind him. It said it sent his car a little bit sideways. So what are they telling Jeff Gordon from his pit? Get up there and loosen him up.
Yes, sir.
You bet. There's Kyle Petty, who now has a handle on that 14th position. Andretti pitting. That'll bring Bradbury to 15th, and up to 16th will move Larry Pearson.
And the 15th place car now will be Gary Bradbury, and he's about a half a lap behind Kyle Petty and those that are fighting for that last position.
Earnhardt going for that 8th consecutive 125-mile victory, his 29th win at Daytona, and still the 500 eludes him. Will it change Sunday in the Great American Race? Here he is back, and there's Andretti in. Quick change. You can see the front of those damaged a bit, and the tail showing a couple of marks.
That's a smart move. When you brush the wall here, you know that you've knocked the feathers in on the tires, and he's in on speed. That was a smart move to bring Andretti in, change the tires, and send him back out.
And we were seeing the inside of the car. It was the outside that got the wall, and that one's up. Here's Schrader taking a look at the 94.
He runs in on him on the inside because Elliott's still running that high line, trying to pick up on him. But Schrader's running that low line yet.
One thing is working in 3 and 4 for Elliott to run the high and come down like he's doing right now. He really picks up the draft, but he's losing it back in 1 and 2 with that same line.
8-car cluster for the lead as they come back into the tri-oval. To Dick Berggren.
Well, Gary Dehart's driver, Terry Labonte, has slipped to the back of the lead pack. You got anything for him as this race winds down?
No, we're really just hanging on right now. You know, this is kind of a tune-up for Sunday. You know, we knew we may be a little bit off coming into this race today, but like I say, it's a qualifying race, and it's kind of a tune-up for the 500. We'll be good Sunday.
Oh, I bet he will, Ken.
The 21 of Michael Waltrip is pulling up into this thing. 21 is definitely back into it. Now here comes the 24. Gordon looking to the outside. And Earnhardt steps away. Earnhardt, victim of that terrible crash at Talladega last July.
Well, you can see out of Jeff Gordon's car as they come off turn 4 here, Earnhardt seems to be tracking very straight off there. That means the car is not pushing. It's hard to gain ground on a car that's driving that straight through the corner.
And, buddy, their lap speeds are about 10 to 15 hundredths of a second faster than was Dale Jarrett and Ernie Irvin in the first race here today.
Schrader pulling up on the outside to work in that draft with the 94. Elliott, here he comes. Elliott looking to make a move. Gordon is out there. Time is running out. Down to the last 2 laps. Earnhardt first. Here comes Bill Elliott, who hasn't won a race since September 1994 at Darlington. He's into third, and he's attacking.
He is attacking. He's looking for any weakness right now. Bill Elliott is really on target today.
White flag. 1 more to go.
Coming down into the last lap. This is it. Earnhardt deployed first. Perched right there in second spot is Jeff Gordon.
Look at Michael Waltrip. We're making it 3 deep going into the turn.
Michael Waltrip trying to pick up a couple of spots on the bottom. The Wood brothers are back and ready to storm in this Daytona 500 upcoming. Back straightaway, Gordon going to the outside. Trying to break away. Number 3, Earnhardt, fishtailing back and forth.
You can see Earnhardt going through very straight. Just behind him, Jeff Gordon trying to find any weaknesses out. It does not look like he's going to be able to catch Earnhardt.
Gordon right there in second spot. Coming to the line, final time in the second 125-mile qualifying race. And across the line, it is going to be Earnhardt in first. And the bubble car coming to the line puts Kyle Petty, driving for his dad these days, this new team, into the Daytona 500. How about that for Larry McReynolds and company? There's Richard Childress patting Larry on the back as he makes his copious notes. And I mean copious. Great finish for Earnhardt and for Gordon and for Elliott, Schrader, Michael Waltrip, Rusty Wallace, Benson, Labonte, Robbie Gordon, Darrell Waltrip. What a 500 we're going to have at Daytona this year. Dave Marcus coming across in 11th, Wally Dallenbach in 12th. This has been some race and some show of authority by some of the great names in the game, Ned.
Yes, indeed, Ken. Now let's take a look at the pass that put Dale Earnhardt out front, and he went on to win. John Andretti was leading the race in car number 98. Earnhardt made a move down on the inside and took the lead, one that he would never relinquish.
Let's take a look at the finish today. Buddy, how about this?
This is Earnhardt coming down for the start-finishing line. You can see he has a good lead. Right now, he's looking in the mirror. He realizes he has it won again. 10 times he's won the 125 here at Daytona.
And the headlines tomorrow are sure going to read the Dale and Dale Show in these 125-mile qualifiers. Winner is in victory lane, Dale Earnhardt. Mike Joy is with him.
Dale, as they called the race, they said it's hard to beat a car that's tracking that well.
It is really running good. You know, it looked like the guys could try to make a run on me, but they needed help. And Gordon was pretty tight on me off the corners, which was making me a little neutral, but the chassis was great. So it's great to win a race for Larry McReynolds and the whole team, really.
You had Rusty behind you in a Ford. You had Jeff behind you in a Chevrolet. Did it make much difference?
No, really didn't. You know, Jeff, he kept trying off a 2 over there, and I think, you know, he sort of eased up, or whether the 94 made him loose or what there at the end of that race. Sort of eased up like he was going to try to make a run on me, but he didn't have enough.
Well, Dale, 8 wins in a row in this event. It's Thursday. I got to ask you, what about Sunday's big money?
Well, we hadn't used up too much of our luck, so maybe we got enough for Sunday. Got a good race car right here. This is the car we're racing.
Results from the second 125-mile qualifier at Daytona. Earnhardt, Jeff Gordon, Elliott, win, place, and show. Schrader, Michael Waltrip, Rusty Wallace, the top 6.
And the second 6 includes NASCAR Winston Cup champion Terry Labonte and Dave Marcus getting in the race to keep his string alive.
And looking back at Kyle Petty for 14th spot, sad note here, Larry Pearson for the Bud Moore team could muster nothing more than the 16th position. And that means it could be the end for the Bud Moore team, not making this 500. And finally, wrapping up the very back of the field, Ricky Craven, who admitted that he made a mistake coming out of turn 4 and crashed out of this race. So we'll be back with more from Daytona after these messages.
You, and you have the right to play sports until the cows come home. You have the right to assemble. You have the right to be equipped. You have the right to free speech. But anything you say can be held against you. That's life, liberty, and the pursuit of the goal. But you don't have the right to remain thirsty. Not when there's Gatorade. Because every athlete has the right to be quenched. These are your rights. Now get out there and exercise them. Life is a sport. Drink it up.
Hey, the Econo Lodge Senior Room has just what older travelers want. Brighter lighting. Look, still soft and beautiful. Bigger numbers on the phone and TV remote. Time for fly fishing. And an in-room coffee maker.
Spend a night, not a fortune, at Econo Lodge. Call 1-800-55-ECONO and you can save 30%.
You drink just drink that. And you'd be surprised. Your eyes, begin to...
U.S. gold medalist Mia Hamm spends 90 minutes destroying her hair and 90 seconds bringing it back with Pert Plus. More than a shampoo, it conditions too. How? As you shampoo, the conditioners stay suspended. As you rinse, the conditioners go to work, giving you great hair simply. Perfect for Mia, because she wants great hair, but she'd rather be living in it than working on it. Wouldn't you? Pert Plus. Simply great hair. Simply.
They come from all over for the most agonizing test of endurance motorsports has to offer. The heavyweight championship of off-road racing. The legendary Baja 1000. Mile after mile of unforgiving terrain that can send even the toughest truck to an early grave, which means it can really be murder on a battery. That's why more drivers who tackle the Baja rely on the Duralast battery than any other. The same Duralast we stock at AutoZone. The Duralast battery. Power you can depend on.
CBS Sports presentation of the Gatorade 125's is sponsored by Gatorade, the official sports beverage of NASCAR. Life is a sport. Drink it up. The new Ford Expedition, the only way to get there. And by smooth Busch beer and easy-drinking Busch Light. Busch, the official beer of NASCAR.
Ken Squire back with you at Daytona, and after viewing those 125-mile qualifying races from Thursday to our colleague Ned Jarrett, I think you called it in 1993, the Dale and Dale show. Would certainly be indicative of that from those 125s on Thursday.
Well, both of them have very strong race cars, Ken. There's no doubt about that. But I'll tell you, when you put them all out there together tomorrow, we just saw half of the field at a time today. But when you put them all out there together tomorrow, it's going to be a great race, I think.
Talk about strategy in this race for the 500 tomorrow. You talk with the fastest 500 race winner ever, Buddy Baker. What about it?
Well, you could see in the races today, they're able to run side by side, various grooves around the racetrack, and probably 20-25 cars that have a very good chance in the race tomorrow.
Now, a short time ago, I had that last chance practice out here on the track, and they were really rambling, Ned.
Yeah, this is what they call a happy hour, the last chance to get those cars dialed in for the Daytona 500. And actually, Ken, the track conditions are the closest to actual race conditions that they've been since they've been here at Daytona.
Ricky Rudd with a handful right here. I think we're going to see a lot of side-by-side racing in this 500 when they get down to business at 12 noon tomorrow.
Well, you can see the cars are very evenly matched. Morgan Shepherd starting in the one car there. He's starting at the very back of the pack. That don't mean a thing at 500 miles.
Let's go pit side. Mike Joy.
Ken, I think this race can be won on pit road. The team that has consistent error-free stops and is the first off pit road on the last pit stop is going to be hard to beat. I'll put Rusty Wallace's team squarely in that category. Dick Berggren?
Well, the team that wins has got to have it all together, and Earnhardt's team surely does. They've won 29 times at Daytona, never the 500. Tomorrow will be their day. Ralph?
Dick, I agree with Mike. I think it is the team off the pit road. The best will be the winner, and that's why I like the 3-car. I think Dale Earnhardt's crew is one of the best on pit road, and I think Larry McReynolds will give him the...
Here at Robert Yates' car, I'm looking for Dale Jarrett to win his 3rd Daytona 500.
Well, I think it'll show, sure.
Well, in my opinion, Earnhardt's tried and won 29 times here.
On CBS. For Ned Jarrett, Darrell Waltrip, Buddy Baker, Mike Joy, Dick Berggren, and Ralph Shaheen. Ken Squire saying so long from Daytona International Speedway.